So today we're taking a look at the GK in Airship Escort. Of course, eventually I had to get to this ship, a classic battleship, the original brawler at tier 10, and it actually goes really well. GK is not a ship I play all that often anymore, especially in random battles. It can be quite difficult. Those of you that have GK probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but small caliber guns with not the best accuracy, not even great range on them either, makes them quite difficult to play the GK in random battles. Giant superstructure is very easy to farm out as well. So as far as initial positioning in this game, just to talk about that really quickly, I'm staying behind this island. Positioning is everything when it comes to brawling battleships, and I'm not pushing out too aggressively just yet, because you notice we don't really have any teammates in this channel. This channel is very easy to die in. There's a lot of people looking here at the start of games, especially in Airship Escort, so we want to be a little bit cautious until we see what the enemy team is doing. We do see a GNAN, and we actually get a Citadel. Front guns, Kerr Citadel. I'm running accuracy upgrade here, so we are trying to at least maximize what our main guns are capable of, while also having decent secondaries. That's kind of nice here. But you notice the entire fight is happening on the 9-10 line, so I want to get some cross shots on that. It's always important that you try and assist your teammates whenever you can. The enemy team has a triple German battleship div, a Schlieffen, a Kurfürst, and a Preußen. So that is terrifying if they're able to push through here and take out a lot of our teammates, because we do have quite a bit of teammates on the 9-10 line, and they could get overrun very easily. So I'll try and support as best I can. But I'm also trying to keep an eye out for what I can do towards the middle or even towards this channel, because somebody does have to be pushing the enemy airship, and it's a Smolensk, which is terrifying. As we all know, that ship can do insane amounts of DPM to almost any ship. We just need to try and do some damage to him before he gets undetected in his smoke. And to my surprise, the Kurfürst is actually doing good damage today. We don't quite kill him, but 2 Citadels and a couple more pens on top of that, he's pretty low. So very happy with the initial results on the Kurfürst. Maybe I just need to be at these very close ranges. In fact, the submarine takes out the Smolensk, so that is a huge thing to have, at least in the early game here. Smolensk is such a strong ship. We need to deal with that as quickly as we possibly can. So GK, maybe really solid still. We just don't have the matchmaker or the meta to facilitate the GK quite as much in the random battles kind of area. But Airship Escort, like I've been talking about, I've been only doing videos on Airship Escort. Hopefully you guys aren't too bored of them yet. I just love this game mode. It's so much fun. It allows me to play some of these other ships that I usually am not able to play in random battles, or at least not have as good matches, right? I can still play them. They just tend to not go quite as well as they would in this Airship Escort. So our team has kind of folded on the 9-10 line here, but what I'm trying to do here is focus on this Des Moines quickly, trying to deal with whatever's going to be on our broadside. The Des Moines does get taken down. I kind of get the finishing hit there. Somebody else did a bunch of damage to him. But as soon as these battleships are pushing around this corner, I need to deal with them. And I didn't want to deal with them while a Des Moines had my broadside or was able to farm me, right? So now we can at least turn and focus on these guys. That's one of the issues with flanking. If you flank too hard and you're too slow on a flank, and these guys did it as fast as they could, to be honest with you, it just takes a long time for battleships to get all the way down the 9 line and then come around this corner. It gave us enough time to deal with a lot of the enemy team that was more towards the middle of the map. That's something that you do have to consider on a lot of these flanks. I know I've been very high on you should be flanking, don't ignore the flanks, definitely flank. Don't just sit within the airship bubble and hope you're going to win that way. But sometimes the flank doesn't quite work out. This is actually going to be one of those cases. There's 2 destroyers chucking torps in at these 2 German battleships, and we're just going to sit here and stall out. Kurfürst is so strong when you're kiting away. The turret angles are actually pretty solid looking back over your shoulder, the front guns specifically. Whenever you're firing forward, you're pushing into someone, it's so difficult to get the rear turrets on target without just taking a huge hit, because you're showing so much broadside. Barely are actually going to be able to dodge this torpedo. Trying to focus on the Schlieffen over this Kurfürst simply because it frees up 2 destroyers on my team, right? They're trying to deal with the Schlieffen a little bit here, And I want to help them deal with that as quickly as possible so they can get back into the main fight, which we are starting to lose. Look at how much farther ahead the enemy's airship is. That's something to keep an eye out for. But we do have opportunities here. This game is far from over. We just need to keep in mind that we can't ignore the airship forever. So, trying to take out the Schlieffen, and then we're going to work on the GK. I am running Ledge Mod here. The build is extremely weird. Again, I'll show you that toward the end like I always do. But Legendary Mod GK is awesome in these close range situations. It buffs your main gun reload, and it buffs your secondary reload. You don't even have a penalty to your turret traverse, which is one of the big deals when you buff your main gun reload in that 6th upgrade slot. Unfortunately, it comes with a range nerf, which is one of the reasons you shouldn't be using it in random battles. But the extra reload on both the secondaries and the main guns is going to do a lot of good work here. We're around half HP, so Adrenaline Rush is giving us another 10% reload buff. And you can see there at the bottom middle of the screen there, we have the secondary accuracy buff, as well as the reload buff for someone being spotted within our secondary range. It's gone now, though, because the GK does get finished off. We've already done up to 145k. We still have a lot of HP here to deal with this Ohio in the late game. Fortunately, the G-Nan does get taken out just as he's about to smoke up. If you saw yesterday's video, you know how terrifying a G-Nan can be if it gets those torps off and is allowed to farm. So I'm very happy that that guy got taken out. And now we get to brawl in Ohio. So which one do you think is going to win? You guys probably are going to say GK. And you should say GK at these close ranges. Even if it wasn't a unfair fight here where, you know, the Petro is chiming in, there's a GK behind me who's also trying to shoot this Ohio. GK is really, really good in these close range situations with its secondaries. Yeah, he's going to do some good damage into my superstructure, but with our Turtleback, we can actually do some really, really nasty things. This Ohio can't pen us with his secondaries unless he hits a superstructure. And generally, he's going to be bouncing off of our hull or just doing 10,000 damage into our superstructure every once in a while. Just look at how much damage these secondaries are going to be doing. 500, 1,000, 500 again, 700. It just keeps adding up very, very quickly. So in these close ranges, GK is actually really, really good. And that's one of the frustrating parts is I see how good it is and I want this to happen more often. We do have our Lucian's buff, of course, as well, so that it's basically a fully maxed out Kurfürst here at close ranges. And we do manage to take out the Ohio. It's a lot of fun. He does some good damage to us as well through especially his fires. But now it's just down to escorting the airship to the end, and we do manage to win. Although it was kind of close there, as you see. The enemy airship wasn't actually that far away. A lot of these games do come down to the wire. Even if you do have an advantage in numbers, you still have to keep in mind for that airship. It's a lot of fun, though. GK does manage to hold up very well in this game mode. Secondaries that can pen 32mm is always going to do great in those close quarter situations. If I was the Ohio player, if you're wondering what you should do in those situations, try and play around 8 to 10, maybe 11 kilometers out. That way your secondaries have more plunging fire, more likely to hit the superstructure. So the build that I'm running in Airship Escort for the GK is very, very close range damage focused. We're trying to buff both our main guns and our secondaries here. If you don't have this ledge mod for the GK, I'd probably actually still go main guns. Your secondaries do good damage, but your main guns are always going to do a lot more here. Even on a ship like Schlieffen, you tend to do more damage with your main guns, even with the secondaries fully maxed out. They're more supplemental damage. Damage Control System Mod 2 here instead of propulsion or steering. Like I said, we want to take 2 out of the 3 of this upgrade, the flag and the commander skills. So gives you a little hint towards the commander in a little bit here. Aiming Systems Mod 1, again, not going full secondaries here. These two you don't really need to take. I'm not sure why I have them here. I just kind of leave them. They're just there, I guess. They do tend to help a little bit, but really don't make that much difference, honestly. And the commander here, this is weird, right? I'm sure IFHE stands out to you. It's not really being necessary. Against that Ohio, though, having 40 mils of pen instead of 32 would have done very good against his upper belt and deck armor, but really not a reason to take IFHE. The reason you take IFHE here is so that you can swap between your Schlieffen and your Kurfürst without respecking your commander. That's the idea here, so that I can play both of those ships and have a good time in Airship Escort. Because I do want to play both of them, and I don't really want to be doing this redistribute thing every single time. So that's the idea here, taking fire prevention still. If it was just a Schlieffen commander, emergency repair expert would be much better. But for GK, we definitely need fire prevention. And then, yeah, buffing damage. Just buffing the damage like crazy, and then trying to play smart around islands. Take good engagements where we're heavily favored, or where we're just going to use our massive amounts of damage output to kill anyone before they're actually able to chew through all of our health. That's kind of the idea here. And it worked out very well in this game. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Which secondary brawling battleship has been your favorite? I will say I did try Shikishima full secondary build, and it didn't go too badly, so you might see that in the future too. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.